Welcome to the CPR Business Development Podcast. This episode 7 is the ultimate guide, how to grow a CPR business. Get your copy in the link in the description. And welcome to the deep dive. You sent us Andre Logan Sr.'s The Ultimate Guide, how to grow a CPR business. And our mission today is really to extract the core knowledge.
Right.
For anyone looking to maybe start or even expand a business focused on CPR, first aid, and AED safety.
Yeah, it's a really comprehensive guide.
We're going to explore pretty much everything, from why this work is so important all the way through to the practical steps. Things like business planning, training, actually growing the business.
It's quite something when you think about the potential impact, isn't it? A business in this field. I mean, beyond just the business side of things, we're talking about giving people the actual skills, the power to potentially save a life. And the guide, it really emphasizes that. It's not just about handing out certificates. It's about building a community, really, that's ready to act when things get critical.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And right from chapter 1, the intro, the guide hits you with this powerful message. CPR training empowers, ordinary people, turns them into immediate responders in emergencies, like cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
And here's where it gets really interesting for me, thinking about the ripple effect.
Yeah.
If you get widespread training, more and more people feel confident, they feel capable of stepping in.
Exactly.
That switch, from being a bystander who feels helpless to someone who can actually do something.
Yeah.
That's huge, a massive takeaway.
And it's that proactive piece. The guide talks a lot about how preparedness through training, well, it doesn't just save lives directly, although that's obviously key. It also builds a more resilient community overall. I mean, think about it. If more people know what to do, the initial response in any emergency is probably going to be faster, more effective too, potentially lessening how bad things get before the professionals even arrive.
And it's not just like anecdotal. The guide points to some pretty compelling statistics, shows how immediate CPR can seriously increase survival rates after cardiac arrest.
Huge increases.
So by building a business that promotes this training, you're directly, actively contributing to improving those odds right there in your own community.
Yeah.
Plus, there's the practical angle the guide reminds us of for a lot of workplaces. Providing this training isn't just a nice to have. It's actually a legal requirement sometimes.
Creates a built-in demand, doesn't it?
Exactly. And connecting this to the bigger picture of emergency response, the guide also brings in AEDs, automated external defibrillators.
Crucial.
It stresses that CPR and AEDs, they're most effective when you use them together. It's about giving people the manual skills and the tech tools to tackle the hard issue itself.
That combination is key.
Okay, so let's unpack why someone would want to build a business around this specifically. The guide makes a really strong case, I think, that the value goes way beyond just, money.
Oh, definitely.
It's about making a real, tangible, positive impact. Empowering people with skills that can save lives. It positions this kind of business as, a force for good, meeting a real need for safety.
Which brings us to the how. How does the guide suggest we actually build this impactful business? The introduction really sets the stage, presenting the book as a kind of roadmap.
Yeah, roadmap. I like that.
It touches on everything. Understanding your market, putting together a solid business plan, figuring out the legal stuff, setting up your training space.
Right.
And then it gets into the specifics of AEDs, marketing, how to handle client relationships, and even scaling up. It gives you that broad overview, whether you're just starting out or already running things.
Okay, let's jump into chapter 2 then. This focuses on really understanding CPR and AEDs. The guide, it just keeps underlining how critical they are in cardiac emergencies, calls them fundamental tools.
Yeah, and that chain of survival.
Yeah.
Providing that vital support until, the paramedics can take over.
So what's the key thing to grasp here? Is it the timing?
Timing is everything.
Yeah.
The guide really emphasizes that CPR, while it keeps oxygen flowing to the brain, to other vital organs when the heart stopped, starting it immediately after someone collapses from cardiac arrest. That's crucial. It preserves brain function during those first few really precious minutes. Bystander CPR, the guide stresses, can massively boost someone's chances.
And then you have the AEDs. The guide describes them as, indispensable devices for restoring a normal heart rhythm during sudden cardiac arrest.
Exactly. They work hand in hand with CPR. It's a controlled electrical pulse, basically. It can correct those really dangerous heart rhythms that often happen. And the guide points out using an AED quickly, like super quickly, can dramatically improve the outcome. That combination, immediate CPR, then a rapid AED use, It's incredibly effective.
So CPR keeps things going. AED tries to fix the underlying electrical problem.
You got it. CPR provides the circulatory support. The AED tackles the electrical malfunction. The guide makes it crystal clear. Having quick access to an AED and knowing how to use it, that can literally be the difference between life and death, especially in those first few moments.
Right.
And it highlights the bigger benefit, too. When more people are trained in both, it turns ordinary citizens into potential first responders, creates a much more prepared, resilient community.
Okay, Chapter 3. This moves us into the really practical stuff, market research and business planning. The first big step the guide hammers home is identifying your target market.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah, it's not just about saying everyone needs CPR training, though arguably they do.
Sure.
But from a business perspective, you need to get specific, understand the different needs, the characteristics of the people or organizations you actually want to serve.
And the guide encourages some real detail here, doesn't it, in segmenting that market?
Oh, yeah. It's not just individuals versus corporations. It's understanding their current training level. What are their specific needs? Are you targeting individuals needing basic certification?
Or maybe corporations needing, advanced workplace safety.
Exactly. Or schools that need youth CPR programs. Tailoring what you offer to those distinct groups, that's essential for success, according to the guide.
And then there's looking at the competition. The guide really stresses analyzing them thoroughly.
Not just knowing who they are.
Right. It's understanding their strengths, their weaknesses, how they market themselves, what they charge, even the technology they use.
The whole picture. The goal is to find those gaps, maybe unmet needs, or areas where your business can offer something better or, unique, your unique value proposition.
Which leads directly into the business plan itself. The guide really underlines how crucial this is.
Yeah.
Not optional.
Absolutely not. Think of it as your strategic roadmap. It guides your decisions. It's also what you'd show potential investors or partners later on.
So what are the key parts it says need to be in there?
Well, it outlines the essentials. Starts with the executive summary, the quick pitch, then a clear business description, what you do, who for, what makes you special.
Okay.
Followed by that market analysis we just talked about, trends, competition, all that.
Right. Understanding the landscape.
Then organization and management, who's running the show, what's their expertise? Your programs and services, detailing your courses, certification levels, any special training methods.
Got it. So the nitty-gritty of what you actually offer.
Exactly. And then, of course, a solid marketing and sales strategy, how you'll reach people, your pricing, promotions, plus realistic financial projections.
Can't forget the money side.
Nope. And finally, a risk analysis. What could go wrong and how you'll handle it.
Wow. Okay. That's comprehensive.
It really highlights that, while passion for saving lives is essential, you absolutely need sound business principles too. And the guide emphasizes this plan isn't something you write once and forget. It's a living document. You should be looking at it, updating it as your business grows and the market changes.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Let's shift gears to Chapter 4, legal considerations. This sounds important, maybe a bit daunting.
It can seem that way, but the guide breaks it down. First up, business registration and licensing.
Just the basic paperwork.
Well, yes, but the guide stresses it's not just paperwork. It's fundamental for operating legally, obviously, but also for establishing legitimacy. In the eyes of clients' authorities, it's about getting the official green light.
Okay, so it builds trust.
Exactly. The guide points out proper registration and licensing builds that credibility. It signals you're professional, ethical, following the rules.
Right.
And that can open doors later, maybe bigger contracts, partnerships that require you to show you're fully legit.
And then the big one, liability and insurance. Given that people are physically practicing skills.
Oh, absolutely critical. The guide strongly recommends the right insurance to protect your business and your clients.
What kinds of insurance are we talking about?
Well, definitely insurance for client safety. Slips, trips, minor bumps during practice. Liability insurance covers you financially if a client gets injured during training.
Okay.
Then there's professional indemnity. This is key. It protects you if a client claims they suffered some kind of loss because of an error or maybe perceived negligence in the training you gave.
Okay. That makes sense.
Beyond that, the guide mentions protecting your assets, property, and equipment insurance for your mannequins, AD trainers, etc., workers' comp if you have employees, even cyber liability, which is increasingly important.
Wow, lots to consider there.
Definitely. And finally, in this chapter, the guide talks about compliance with local regulations.
Which can vary a lot depending on where you are, right?
Hugely. But the point the guide makes is, whatever they are in your area, you have to adhere to them. It's essential for staying legal and maintaining a good reputation.
So it's not just about avoiding fines.
Not at all. The guide emphasizes that by complying with local health and safety standards, you're ensuring your training is effective and safe. That builds confidence with customers, in the community, and often it's a requirement for renewing your licenses anyway, so it ensures your business can actually keep operating long term.
Okay, we've covered some really fundamental ground there. Understanding the why, the basics of CPR aids, market research, planning, the legal framework. Feels like we've built the foundation.
We have. It sets the stage for the next crucial phases outlined in the guide.
Right. So next we need to get into setting up the actual training facility, choosing the right AEDs, and designing those training programs.
Exactly. How to make it happen on the ground. We'll explore equipping the space, the factors in AED selection, and building courses that are comprehensive and engaging.
Sounds good? Let's dive into Chapter 5, setting up your training facility. Location, 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 right.
That's definitely where the guide starts. Choosing a suitable location is critical. It looks at accessibility. Can people get there easily? Does it align with the demographics you're targeting?
Mm-hmm. And what about competition?
Yeah, considering nearby competitors. Also, regulatory compliance. Does the space meet local codes? Visibility. Can people find you? Safety, cost, of course, and even thinking about future growth potential. Lots of factors.
So once you've found the spot, what about equipping it? What does the guide say you absolutely need?
It gets pretty detailed. Obviously, CPR mannequins, adult, child, infant, AED training devices, these are crucial for practice. Training masks or shields for hygiene.
Standard stuff.
Right. First aid supplies, educational resources like posters or videos, maybe even actual AED units for demonstration. Simulation software can be great too, PPE gloves, etc.
And the office side?
Yeah, basic office furniture, computers, and software for admin, printers, phone system, filing cabinets, setting up a reception area if needed, and reliable Wi-Fi is a must these days.
Okay, so you've got the place and the gear. What about making it a good learning environment? The guide must touch on that.
Absolutely. It emphasizes creating a space that's safe, but also conducive to learning. So thinking about the layout, enough space for practice, having clear emergency response plans for the facility itself, maintaining the equipment properly, having first aid stations readily available, ensuring participant comfort, good ventilation, temperature control, lighting, comfortable seating. Infection control measures are vital too. And critically, ensuring your trainers are certified and competent. That really underpins the whole learning environment.
Makes perfect sense.
Hmm?
Moving to Chapter 6, AED, purchase and selection. This feels like a big decision. Lots of models out there.
It is a big decision, and the guide stresses understanding the different options. It mentions key manufacturers like Philips, Zewell, Cardiac Science, HeartSign, but it's more about the features.
Like what?
Usability, how easy is it for a layperson to use? Size and portability. Durability, will it stand up to different environments? Any advanced features like CPR feedback?
Oh, that's useful.
Yeah. Energy levels it delivers, the clarity of the voice and visual prompts, guidance on pad placement, battery life, maintenance needs, and whether it has a specific training mode.
So when you're actually buying, what are the top factors the guide says to weigh up?
Ease of use is paramount. Durability, portability, the energy levels matching guidelines, pad placement advice clarity. Definitely check if it has a training mode. Good voice text prompts. Battery life and maintenance requirements, understand the ongoing commitment.
And cost, obviously.
Cost and budget, for sure. Regulatory compliance, is it approved in your region? Data storage capabilities can be important too.
What about dealing with suppliers? Any tips there?
Yeah, the guide talks about building good relationships. Do your research on suppliers first. Communicate clearly what you need. Negotiate terms, but don't sacrifice quality. Check their reliability. Look for collaboration opportunities. Stay informed about new models. Maybe even build personal connections. Give them feedback. See if they offer value-added services like maintenance reminders or training support.
Good advice. Okay, Chapter 7, AED training programs. This is the core service, really. How do you develop a good course?
The guide outlines key components for a comprehensive course. Start with an intro to AEDs, why they're needed. Explain cardiac arrest simply. Then, lots of hands-on operation practice.
Practice is key.
Absolutely, integrating it with CPR practice, covering safety considerations for the rescuer and the patient, maintenance and basic troubleshooting, legal and ethical aspects, and importantly, thinking about how to customize it for different settings, workplace versus community group, for instance, assessment and certification processes. And promoting continuous education or refresher courses.
What about the trainers themselves? How do they get certified?
There's a process. Usually requires existing CPR AD certification from a recognized body like the AHA or Red Cross, then taking a specific instructor course. There's often a hands-on competency evaluation, practice teaching, written exams, ongoing education requirements, assessment by master instructors, and regular certification renewal. It's quite rigorous.
As it should be.
Definitely. And the guide really emphasizes integrating practical exercises and simulations into the training.
Why is that so crucial?
Because it uses realistic scenarios. It reinforces the skills in context, helps with effective decision-making under pressure, promotes team collaboration if it's group training. It can even help with stress inoculation, making people more comfortable acting in a real emergency. Plus, it makes the training much more engaging and memorable. And you can customize scenarios for specific workplaces or situations.
Chapter 8 feels like a continuation.
Yeah.
The AED usage guide, teaching the actual techniques.
Right. This chapter focuses on how to teach proper AED use. Start with an overview, explain the components clearly, emphasize safety water, metal surfaces, etc. Demonstrate proper pad placement that's often a point of confusion.
Yeah, I can see that.
Turning the device on and stressing following the prompts. Clear communication if working in a team. Coordinating with CPR effectively. Lots of practice through simulations again. Basic troubleshooting. And allowing time for Q&A.
What about the overall response to a cardiac emergency? Does the guide outline the sequence?
Yes, it provides a clear sequence. Evaluate the situation, check responsiveness, call emergency services immediately, 911 or your local number. Start CPR, emphasizing that compression rate of 120 per minute. Send someone to get the AED.
Okay.
Use the AED as soon as it arrives, turn it on, follow the prompts, ensure the area is clear if a shock is advised. Continue CPR between shocks or if no shock is needed until help arrives. Provide info to the emergency services. Stay calm. And consider follow-up care or debriefing.
The guide also mentions using real-life case studies and scenarios. Why are they valuable?
They make it real. They can illustrate diverse situations, different victim types like children, environmental factors, maybe outdoors or in a crowded place,
Yeah.
team response dynamics. What happens if the equipment malfunctions, different causes of arrest, how AED use fits into the overall response. It encourages reflection and interactive learning, much better than just dry theory.
Definitely. Chapter 9, AED Maintenance Program. This sounds crucial, but maybe easily overlooked.
Extremely crucial, and yes, sometimes overlooked. The guide stresses regular maintenance is vital for device readiness. You need that AED to work when you need it.
So what does regular maintenance involve?
Battery health is key. Electrode pads have expiration dates and need checking. Software might need updates. The device often runs internal self-tests, but visual checks are still needed. It's often required for regulatory compliance. You need documentation. It builds user confidence. It's cost-effective compared to device failure, and it extends the AED's lifespan.
So how often? What does the schedule look like?
The guide suggests a schedule. Monthly checks are good. Visual inspection, checking indicator lights, looking at the pads, still sealed, expiration date okay. Checking battery status if possible, maybe a quick functionality test if the device allows, external cleaning, making sure it's registered if required.
An annual.
Annually might involve actually replacing electrode pads based on their expiry date, possibly replacing the battery depending on its lifespan, maybe a professional inspection depending on local rules or manufacturer advice, ensuring staff know where it is and are trained, checking emergency contact info is current, reviewing policies, and maybe some public awareness efforts.
What if something goes wrong? Does it cover troubleshooting?
Yes, it covers common issues like AED, not charging, check the battery, power source, error messages, consult the manual, might need a software update. Pad placement or connection problems, ensure correct placement. Check pads aren't expired or damaged. AED fails to shock, verify it's a shockable rhythm, check pads again. Unclear prompts, check volume, display. Pads not recognized, maybe clean the connectors, try new pads. Self-test failures address the issue, might need professional service.
Okay, that's really practical. Let's move into getting the word out. Chapter 10, Marketing and Promotion. How do you build a strategy?
It starts with the basics. Establish clear goals. Understand your target audience inside out. Analyze those competitors again. Create your unique value proposition, what makes you different or better. Develop a professional website that's your online storefront. Content marketing, providing valuable info through blogs, articles, social media presence, email marketing. Networking and partnerships are huge in this field. Online advertising, if budget allows.
Rails.
Client testimonials, social proof is powerful. Highlighting your certifications and credentials. Offering special promotions sometimes. Local SEO is critical, making sure people nearby can find you online. Mobile-friendly marketing, emphasizing that your training is up to date. Measuring your results, innovating. Focusing on customer retention, and always adhering to legal ethical marketing standards.
What about specific methods, online versus offline?
The guide covers both. Online, SEO, social media marketing, content marketing, email campaigns, paid online ads like Google ads or social media ads, search engine marketing, SEM, mobile ads, online reviews, maybe online workshops or webinars.
And offline, the
Well,
traditional stuff.
Yep. Local events, trade shows, community fairs, networking groups, printed materials like brochures or flyers, offering training directly within workplaces, local media outreach newspapers, radio, community presentations, vehicle wraps or graphics, direct mail in some cases, billboards, local radio spots. Lots of options depending on your market and budget.
Building partnerships with local organizations seems really important here. How do you do that effectively?
The guide suggests a structured approach. Identify potential partners, schools, businesses, community centers, gyms. Research their needs. Develop a clear value proposition for them. Make contact professionally. Attend their events. Offer introductory workshops. Collaborate on joint events. Stress the mutual benefits. Maybe develop personalized programs for their members or employees. Offer incentives. Share success stories. Support their initiatives. Provide educational materials. Join relevant industry associations. Maintain regular communication. Explore co-marketing. Measure the success of the partnership. Celebrate wins together. Ask for feedback. And maybe formalize strong partnerships with agreements.
Makes sense. Chapter 11, Client Relationships and Retention, Keeping Customers Happy.
And keeping them coming back. It starts with excellent customer service, professionalism in all interactions, quick responses, clear communication, personalizing the experience where possible, showing empathy, having knowledgeable staff, being accessible, transparency in pricing and policies.
What else contributes to great service?
Being proactive in solving problems, actively collecting feedback, educating clients beyond just the course, offering post-training support, recognizing loyal customers, consistency across all channels, phone, email, in person, providing updates if needed, showing appreciation, being flexible, using technology to streamline things, following up after training, and constantly looking for ways to improve.
How do you build that into long-term relationships, not just one-off training?
By really understanding their ongoing needs, maintaining that clear communication, tailoring future training or services, delivering consistent quality every time, solving problems before they escalate, providing ongoing client education, regular check-ins, offering value-added services, maybe newsletters, safety tips, loyalty programs can work, adaptable training options, maybe forecasting their future needs like upcoming certification renewals, celebrating milestones with them, recognizing key clients, being flexible, offering exclusive access to resources, creating networking opportunities, sending training reminders, acting as a trusted safety advisor, using feedback surveys, and potentially offering long-term collaboration contracts.
And you mentioned feedback several times. How do you implement effective feedback mechanisms?
Lots of ways. Client questionnaires after training. Post-training evaluation forms, digital or paper. Anonymous options are important for honesty. Regular check-in calls or emails. Using online platforms or surveys. Monitoring social media for mentions. Focus groups. Specific feedback request emails. In-person feedback sessions. Even simple things like feedback boxes. Getting instant feedback right after a session. Asking during renewal discussions. Monitoring online review sites like Google or Yelp. Hosting feedback webinars. Integrating feedback tools into your website or training platform. Having internal meetings to analyze feedback. Showing how you're making changes based on feedback. Having a clear protocol for responding to feedback, especially negative feedback. And recognizing clients who provide valuable input.
Okay, Chapter 12, Scaling Your Business, Thinking Bigger. How do you expand services?
Start with market research again. What else do your clients need? Diversify your training programs. Offer specialized courses like pediatric CPR, advanced first aid, bloodborne pathogens, maybe health and safety consultations for businesses, disaster response planning services, virtual or blended learning options.
Beyond training.
Yeah, maybe supplying medical equipment like first aid kits or even AEDs. Offering broader health and well-being programs, community outreach initiatives, securing larger corporate training agreements, potentially expanding geographically, mobile training units taking the training to clients, integrating with healthcare providers, offering certification renewal tracking services, customized online training portals for large clients, AED maintenance subscriptions, collaborating with schools or colleges, hosting safety events, developing mobile training apps, and just constantly innovating.
Expanding often means hiring more people. Tips on that.
First, evaluate the actual need. Define the roles clearly. Write good job descriptions. Offer competitive benefits. Use relevant job boards. Leverage your professional network. Connect with local colleges or training institutions. Screen applications carefully. Use structured interviews. Include practical skills assessments if possible. Check references thoroughly. Assess for cultural fit with your business. Offer ongoing training and development for your staff. Provide competitive advantages. Consider flexible work arrangements. Encourage diversity. Highlight your company culture. Have a solid onboarding program. Focus on employee retention strategies. Conduct regular performance evaluations. And seek feedback from your team too.
What about exploring completely new markets, geographically, for example?
Similar principles apply. Thorough market research in the new area. Analyze the target audience there. Understand the local competitors. Check all the legal and regulatory requirements in that new location. They might be different. Be culturally sensitive. Develop a clear market entry strategy. Maybe start with pilot programs. Localize your marketing materials. Network locally. Modify training resources if needed. Find local partners. Build a strong online presence targeting that area. Tailor your pricing. Leverage local knowledge. Maybe hire local staff. Connect with local government or industry bodies. Get customer feedback early and often. Be adaptable. Monitor your progress carefully. And have strategies ready for scaling up further if it's successful.
Final chapter, chapter 13, staying updated on industry trends. This field changes, right?
Constantly. Guidelines change, technology evolves. So the guide emphasizes continuous learning and professional development. Keep up with changing regulations. Promote regular certification renewal for your clients and staff. Invest in ongoing training programs for your team. Attend industry workshops and conferences. Use online learning platforms. Provide resources for your staff. Hold regular internal training sessions. Encourage peer learning and cross-training. Mentorship programs can be valuable. Maintain professional memberships. Conduct skill evaluations. Embrace technology like VR or AR for training if appropriate. Attend industry webinars. Foster a culture of learning within your business. Link performance evaluations to development plans. Encourage advanced certifications or degrees. Partner with training institutes. Stay updated on new AED technology or CPR techniques. And celebrate learning achievements.
How do you specifically adapt when CPR or safety guidelines do change, like the AHA updates?
You need a process. Constantly monitor for guideline updates from the major organizations. Review and update your training programs and materials immediately. Train your own workforce on the changes. Update all documentation. Integrate the changes seamlessly into your courses. Communicate the updates clearly to participants and past clients. Leverage technology for quick updates. Cooperate with regulatory bodies. Hold regular internal review sessions. Consider feedback on how the changes are being implemented. Run drills or simulations incorporating the new guidelines. Implement quality assurance checks. Make resources about the changes easily accessible. Ensure certification updates reflect the new guidelines. Work with subject matter experts. Update your own emergency response plans if needed. Use feedback mechanisms again. Document all the changes made, ensure legal compliance with the new standards, and maintain a strong commitment to ongoing improvement. It has to be proactive.
And finally, networking. How important is that for staying current?
Hugely important according to the guide. Attend industry events and conferences. Join professional associations. Get involved with your local chamber of commerce. Use online platforms like LinkedIn effectively. Conduct your own workshops or webinars to establish expertise. Participate in community activities and safety fairs. Join local safety councils, attend networking mixers, seek mentorship or offer it. Attend leadership training. Participate actively in online forums or groups. Exchange business cards the old-fashioned way still works. Plan informal social gatherings. Connect with other training facilities, maybe collaborate rather than just compete. Use social media strategically. Attend trade exhibitions. Collaborate on research projects if possible. Offer to speak at events. Network across related industries too, like HR or occupational health, and always follow up and maintain those contacts.
Wow. Okay, that covers an incredible amount of ground from the guide. A
Right.
really comprehensive look at building and growing a CPR business.
It really is. From the core mission of saving lives right through to the practicalities of marketing, scaling, and staying current.
So, summarizing the key takeaways from the Ultimate Guide, how to grow a CPR business. It really boils down to understanding the profound importance of safety training, solid business planning, navigating those legal aspects carefully, setting up your facility and managing AEDs properly, delivering high-quality training, smart marketing, nurturing client relationships, and crucially, that commitment to continuous learning and adaptation.
Exactly. It's about combining that passion for safety with sound business practices and an ongoing dedication to excellence and staying updated.
A final thought maybe for you, the listener, is to really embrace that ongoing commitment, not just in your business operations, but fostering that culture of safety and preparedness within your own community. Your work in this field truly matters.
Absolutely. We wish you every success as you build or grow your CPR and safety business. Your dedication really does contribute to saving lives and promoting preparedness. Remember, you can check out the CPR Business Mastery YouTube channel and reach out via email at contact@cpbusinessmastery.com for more resources.
Thank you for joining the CPR podcast, and please subscribe, like, and comment so that we can continue to make more like this. We will see you in the next episode 8, Mastering Smart Goals. Click the link in the descriptions to access your copy of the Ultimate Guide, How to Grow a CPR Business.